I think that we hardly have an inkling as to the real nature of the world and the real history of life on this planet. And, we don't know how narrowly channeled the manifestation of organic intelligence is. Does it always have to be in a body? Does it always have to be in a body that stands upright with binocular vision? I think the real task with dealing with extraterrestrials is to know when you've got one.
Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and I'm really excited about this show because it's one of my favorite topics is art and what inspires the artist and leading edge creativity. And that's why I'm talking to my good friends, Humo and Myztico. They have been on the art scene, on the visionary art scene, creating some phenomenal works. Let's talk about the art because they're not just glowing images. The subject matter of the alien consciousness and the higher levels sort of reflects a new consciousness. So we'll talk to you first, Myztico. What are you envisioning when you paint these things?
I surrender to the source that I connect with. I don't question what comes through. I'm just a humble servant. So painting is a form of meditation. It's a form of sacred prayer. And so these visions come through, downloaded by plant medicine ceremonies, by yoga, by dream time. And so I'm just a humble vessel.
And for you, what happens in you with your painting?
It's just visions, part of my experience as being on this planet. And plant medicine journeys that I usually go on into my consciousness, dreaming realms, and connection to other planets and the life in the universe.
But when you say plant medicine, do you mean like you were taking ayahuasca when you paint these?
Ayahuasca, mushrooms, peyote.
But if you're not taking the plant medicine, do other images come out in you?
For myself personally, yes, because they come through in dream time. They come through very sober states. They could even come through when I'm riding New York City subways.
What kind of images come through there?
Well, it's almost as if like the mind is an antenna, right? And so these images are being transmitted by the ether of consciousness. It's a mind field, and so by getting out of its way, as an artist, I'm able to kind of bring it into this realm and share it with different communities and tribes.
I mean, that's what I think is so amazing about art is that it's a communication of other realities.
Yeah.
So do you feel yourself journeying to these?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm painting, I'm taken by these energies and these visions that I'm having, and I just allow my hands to be the vessel, or my consciousness, and allow my body to just flow. I don't even know what's going to be on the canvas when I start painting. Maybe I have a slight idea, but then I just feel energy coming through me and just creating this,
Do you feel something wants to come through you in order to communicate with the rest of humanity? Is that what you guys are?
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of like there is a message, so there always has to be like a direct connection with the source of the universe, and then that needs to be put into something material so that others can receive it and then get that transmission and kind of like wake up and feel something from the images, something that could open them up more,
I mean, what do you feel, Myztico, when you're painting? Do you feel like something wants to communicate through you to give the rest of us a message?
Most definitely. I think that as an artist, if we allow ourselves to be a vessel and not have the ego become like an obstacle, then we could be in a pure state of consciousness, and tap into that in an honest way.
Yeah.
I've never personally had any formal art education.
Wow.
I'm self-taught. I've loved art since I was a kid. And so these are like transmissions. And I'm just a humble servant to these transmissions.
Transmissions from where? Where do these guys come?
It could be anywhere in the universe, because think about it. We're on this spaceship that's traveling through the universe. We don't even know where we are. So wherever we're going through, we might be picking up energies and thoughts and feelings from anywhere in the universe.
So you think the ETs, and I believe in ETs, are using you to as a vessel to communicate like some knowledge they have or something they want to tell us?
I sense that there is a deeper, let's say, a consciousness that permeates the brushstrokes. Like Humo, I don't plan my paintings necessarily. A lot of it is like 99% improvised, and I just get out of the way, and it's really surprising to see the outcome.
You're even surprised.
I'm surprised. Yeah.
That happens.
So what do you think? Like is something? What is you painted this one?
This is a collaboration between Humo and myself.
And were you on the same frequency when you painted this?
Yeah, well, when I started that painting, it was like I just started going, and then the center, I just felt like that was a portal, and then something wanted to come out of there, and then these beings came through, and I just started painting them.
Did you see the beings?
Well, I started seeing them with my mind, and then, they started getting onto the canvas, and I started painting, and then I showed Tico, and we had been talking about doing a collaboration. So I'm like, I'm gonna finish this part. This is what's happening, and then you take on, on your journey and fill it out, and then he continue with, the vision.
What does this say to you? Does this have a message for you particularly?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I painted the left side, and so this divine feminine being appeared that was kind of transmitting her energy of the Star Child through this wormhole of infinite awareness. And so she, if you look at her mindscape, it's the Otobudo, it's the infinite symbol, and so art is infinite, really. I mean, when you think about the power of art to heal people and to translate imagery that connects us to our divine creativity, that's when magic really occurs, So when you look at the ancient cultures throughout millennia, there's a lot of very magical, esoteric art that these cultures have created, and tapped into. And so in the modern context and in the present, I feel personally that I want to be part of that tradition, and working with fluorescent and UV art is a way of kind of keeping in touch with that tradition, if.
So no, I totally get what you mean. So it's like your subconscious as an artist is talking to the subconscious of the viewer and communicating symbols that we may not be aware of, like on the everyday level, but this kind of art is impacting us to think differently, to really create new realities.
Sure.
And so how do people respond when they see your work?
Wow.
It's always a very interesting reaction that people get, because first of all, when we usually give them the glasses, the chroma depth glasses, which allows you to see the paintings in 3D, and it's something that most of them have never seen, so they can't believe what they're seeing, and plus, they're very cosmic and psychedelic, so that makes it even twice as more intense for them to see this new reality that they've never experienced. Plus the message, is very intense, they're like, who are these beings, where are they coming from, why are you painting this? So it's very interesting to talk to them and share our vision with them so it could actually open up their mind.
And it really does open up their mind.
It does.
It does. I mean, I've had people react in some very incredible ways. I mean, there's waves of emotion that come through the people that I've had people like cry and say, I've had those similar visions. How did you know that, to get into my mind? Or so it's interesting how, let's say plant medicine or psychedelic states of consciousness is kind of like a similar experience for humanity.
Right, but then you don't need once you have the communication, then you save people the process of having to do the plant medicine because you're communicating those messages right through these images.
Yeah, I mean, I know we consider ourselves as art shamans. We travel through these different dimensions, and which allows us to bring back these images into these realms and to share it with different tribes and communities.
Yeah.
And so, without people having to take those medicines, or if they don't,
Or if they
feel
want to, I
comfortable.
guess they could, but
Yeah.
it's like this is already a medicine in a sense.
It is.
Yeah, it's a therapy for people to just being able to see them, you know.
Yeah, like this is a real, these ET surrounded by these other sort of ET. Was this a special being for you?
This was a vision that I had during an ayahuasca ceremony from earlier this year.
Uh-huh.
And these entities came through, and
They came through in the painting, or they actually saw these?
they came through and during my ceremony.
Oh, wow.
And so I received like a lot of downloads during those ceremonies, and they say, okay, this is what you have to paint this year.
They told you this. We want you to paint this.
That's right. Yeah.
And what is it that they're trying to communicate in this painting? It looks
Well, these particular beings were very benevolent, and they approached myself with a lot of compassion and a lot of love, that they're here overseeing the evolution of humanity, and that they want to wake up humanity to what we're experiencing in this realm, you know.
Well, you know what these paintings do for me? They remind me of how complex the universe is. You know, on this 3D, we think it's pretty basic here,
Yeah.
but there's
Very
so
solid.
much, we're full of energy. There's energy all around us.
It's all energy. You know?
And you
we
guys-
solidify things in our reality and we make them material.
We
But
do.
we're actually pure energy, you know?
Yeah, and you guys are capturing, you know, the pure energy and what's really out there, as
Yeah.
opposed to like the filters we put on what we think is possible.
Yeah.
So visionary art is the process of expanding our minds
Yeah.
to show us there's so much more to reality.
Well, think about it. I mean, humans, in most cases, we're limited to very limited spectrum of 5 senses. Okay, but right now, as we talk, there's these parallel dimensions of energy and deities, or you know, entities that are here with us as well. It's just that the naked human eye, you know, cannot capture it unless if you know, tap into that.
Yeah, there are so many dimensions between us. You know, we can't see that because our speed, our frequency vibrates at a certain rate. But there are others who vibrate slower or higher, and that's why we can see them. But there are so many beings in between us
But
right
when we
now.
tap into the creative mode, something else seems to come through us to communicate those other levels of reality. That's what's so exciting. And, you know, would you say that there's this shift in humanity? I mean, that's what I talk about, the shift in humanity that's coming to live in those other dimensions. How do you feel?
Well, humanity, I feel, is on a cusp of a true revolution, evolution. Our DNA is not fully activated. We're using a very small percentage of our minds. And so these beings want to welcome us to the cosmic ancestral family, but they see that we're at war with each other. They see that we're destroying our planet, and they feel like, you know, humanity is not ready. You know, we're like infants in the grand scheme of the cosmos. And they want to help us, but they feel like we need to help ourselves first, you know. And art has a way of, like, you know, bringing these entities to the forefront and hopefully, create some thought-provoking conversations. You know, we're being so filtered by the mainstream media and by all these different, like, governmental agencies that don't want for us to know what our true origins are. You know, and it's really up to each of us to tap into that, you know, our ancestors.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
me and you, Humo, we did the Crystal Skull Conference, and
Yeah.
then 3 days
10,
later, right? You
That was
captured.
powerful.
Tell us what you captured on video.
Yeah, I mean, so much was going on around that time. Even 3 years before that, a woman in Australia, she channeled some beings from Federation of Light, you know, and they were supposed to show up, you know, and show everyone that we're actually not alone in the universe. And it didn't happen in the way people were expecting it, but it happened to so many of us, in different ways. And every year after that, around that time, there was always something going on, a lot of UFO sightings and all that. And in 10-10-10, there was this conference and this thing that we did, this gathering of the 13 crystal skulls.
Yeah, it was a great gathering.
And in the same area, right after that, I think it was 3 days after, they showed up. They were all over Manhattan. It was all over the news. I was actually able to be in the city at that moment, and I was able to videotape them. I have had the privilege, I would say, to be able to see them a lot and photograph them and take videos of them many times.
And I think, these images help us get used to these other dimensional entities. We need to be exposed to art because art shifts our awareness out of the mundane. And
because it changes everything, the energy of the place, like right now, this energy of this room is being changed because these things are here on us,
Right, and
so
people
it changes,
looking at it on camera, through the television, video.
Increases consciousness throughout the universe. And
by just looking
other
at
beings can feel that.
Yeah, who can feel it?
Other beings.
Other beings can feel our shift. So what do you feel like where are you going with this? What do you feel like your destiny is as an artist, painters, creators?
Personally, this is part of my mission here on Earth, and I'm honored to be a vessel for that mission and to be able to share this with different communities and tribes around the planet. I think that there's many shining beings out there now, but we're being so manipulated and oppressed by low-frequency media manipulations, fear tactics used by our governments and by organized religion to keep us divided and keep us in a state of war and fear. Art has a way of uplifting the consciousness. I mean, visionary art, for the most part, there is a lot of art that is also very degrading and very low frequency, unfortunately. But for the most part, the visionary art community internationally is a very uplifting community of shining beings that want to bring the beauty and love and compassion and the messages from these other realms into a grander conversation. And ancient civilizations have been have been doing this in their own right. Ancient Egypt, going back to Göbekli Tepe and to the Mayans and the Aztecs, Native Americans, they all had visions of these star ancestors, and we see it from as early as prehistoric cave art. And so once again, being part of that lineage or part of that tradition, we share a lot of this beauty that's possible for humanity.
Yeah, they are beautiful and stimulating. But why I do the show is to open people's mind. But there's a whole population that wouldn't know what to do with looking at this, right?
True.
You look at these and they haven't cognized.
But it wakes them up, in a way it touches something in their spirit that they can remember, and that's what art does,
Right.
It doesn't, you need to read anything, you just take it visually and it just sparks something in your spirit. And it can actually open you up more, to see other realities and other things, that are there, but people can't see them.
Well, let's talk about this one. It looks like a male and female form. What was the vision behind that one? I'm just curious.
This is a painting also that came from a mushroom ceremony about 2 years ago, and I saw the divine masculine and the divine feminine and locked into this infinite eye gaze. And so between themselves is an energy field. So we all have our boundaries. So basically, Castaneda talked about the nagual. The nagual is like an egg-shaped energy field that that extends out to the forefinger, and so we all have these energy fields. So when people get in your face or in your space, you feel like almost as if you're being intruded. But when you're locked in an eye gaze with your partner or a stranger, you tap into their essence. And so I wanted to depict these beings locked in that gaze.
And there's a merging in an eye gaze.
There is, and that's why you see their hands are
yeah.
connecting as one. You know, their wrists are connecting as one and creating a pyramid. You know, and within the pyramid is the star child, once again, the star fetus.
I wonder if you painted like alien type creature looking at us and channel that through, if we'd be able to get into their reality with then,
Like a wormhole.
yeah, like
It's
a
very
wormhole
possible.
through the alien eyes that you guys might paint. I'm just throwing that idea out for you if you want,
Yeah.
because that's
Because they could be painting you here, you know, and it's kind of like a connection that you're making with something else, like a different force out there, you know.
Do you think with these paintings the alien consciousness is present here because you brought them here? Do you feel that? Like,
Yeah, I believe that because it creates like a shape in the universe, you know, and everything's like numbers and like mathematical equations, so it creates like a result that has like a configuration. So
so
it
by
actually
painting it, you're saying there's a resonance in this reality with those other realities. So by bringing these forms into our world, we are resonating more
yeah.
with those frequencies.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
it creates, like what I said, like a configuration of energy that could have the spirit of these beings that we're seeing and then putting on the canvas, you know?
Wow, that is great. So the configuration, you manifest them into, these are like doorways then.
yeah.
These are portals themselves.
That's right.
Into the resonant forms of these other dimensional beings
Yeah.
that are now living in this reality
Yeah.
because you brought them into our awareness.
That's
And
right.
I think it's the same thing with everything that humans imagine, you know, like our mind is part of the universe, right? And there are universes of universes, you know, this is infinite really. But everything that we imagine or put on a movie or on canvas or painting or write, you know, or imagine fantastical beings, you know, they are somewhere in the universe, because if our mind is imagining and thinking of them and bringing them into these realities, because they are somewhere out there, you know.
How does time travel relate to some of this? I'm just curious if you get any images of, like, you know, different time flows and dimensional historic times. Does that come to you at all?
What is time? I mean, time, you know, is like a man-made
invention.
construct, you know, and so, you know, the idea that the past, present, and future all coexist parallel in some ways is a very intriguing concept, you know. And so time travel, I believe, is really happens in, I don't know, for myself personally, in dreams or during ceremonies where I go into future lives, or I go into past lives, or I go back to the original cell of where, you know, this DNA, you know, the origin of our DNA. So it's a fascinating concept, really. And I mean, how do you tap into
Well,
that?
like when I see, thank you for asking, because when I see a painting or an image, it is like a frozen moment in time, and that transcends this movement we call time. So in a way, these images themselves, even a photograph, stand outside of time. So they're in another dimension where
It's like a time capsule.
it is like a time capsule, but it's a time capsule that's present and also of the past.
Of course.
And but these are present, but also of the future. That's what I'm seeing.
But
sure
the
is.
future, what is the future, you know? Maybe when the ancient Egyptians were here, it's not really the past, maybe it's the future, you know, and we're, in our mind, we have to organize things, you know, and of course we want to organize time to be practical about this reality, but how do we know that that wasn't the future, you know?
So when you're painting, do you feel like anything is possible? You just open, or do you find like your personality comes up against some blocks and say, no, I can't go there because it's too way out? Is that what happens?
Not just when I'm painting, everything's possible, always. you know?
Always. Yeah.
You just have to be open to that reality and to that truth.
But
And
does your personality conditioning, you know, come up a little bit to get in the way of, maybe art transcends that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
think so.
I think if you're pure and you surrender to what the transmissions are coming through, then there should be no boundaries. You know, I mean, who sets the rules?
Right.
You know, the cosmos is full of mystery, and so when we start questioning and getting in the way, when our logic starts getting in the way, then we limit ourselves to what our true potential is. You know, and so why lock ourselves, or why, you know, place us in a stereotype or like limited perception?
So you feel painting, art, creativity is a way to tap into the mystery, because we don't know what's going to come through, right?
Most definitely.
That's why I like doing, when I took pictures, these kind of images over top of images. I never know what was going to show up, because it was like co-creating with the universe, the unknown. And I think the more we allow the non-ego self to tap in, the more it actually serves everyone else.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're surrendering to a grander consciousness that is way beyond what our conditioned perceptions are. And that's what, you know, society in a lot of ways is stuck in a very conditioned mindset. And that's why there is a lot of fear, and that's why there is a lot of ignorance within humanity, because that conditioning since childhood is a way of indoctrinating our consciousness into their mold, into a mold of like really nonsense, of really trivial garbage that doesn't serve our greater purpose. We as humans have a much greater purpose in this world than gathering materialistically, than plundering the
making
planet.
war on people. I mean, it's so primitive.
It is. You know, here we are in 2018, and I can't believe that, you know, that wars still exist, that we're still like, you know, using fossil fuels, that we're still, you know, in a slavery mode. You know, there's so much more beyond that, and art has a way of like, you know, like saying, okay, wake up now. You know, it's really time for humanity to wake up from this slumber.
I think art is why we're here. You know, we're here to be creative beings and allow ourselves to feel more through our expression.
Yeah.
So what's the most far out you want to go? Like, what's your vision of, like, what's the furthest you can think or imagine at this moment, Humo?
This moment. Well,
Or the next moment.
this moment is all we have, you know.
Yeah,
and
so
it
what-
spans throughout the universe and
Give us
throughout
some
the
really-
forever now, you know.
Feels like, I'm just curious if anything's coming to you, like, which is really unlimited into this moment.
Yeah.
Does anything come?
I mean, yeah, our consciousness is a spark of energy, and I think if we were actually being able to tap into the real present moment, we would become pure energy, and that's kind of why, you know, painting is a very powerful tool to get into that energy, you know, to like bring that present moment and put it into that canvas and that artistic vision that you can share with others. But when you're tapping into such like energy, you can actually feel a lot of energy within your being. But if you were actually being able to become pure present, your body probably couldn't take it, and you would probably become pure energy.
No, I think our bodies can take it. I think we're vibrating quicker and quicker, and we're
Maybe at some
ascending to
point,
higher.
but then you would turn into pure energy. I
I
believe.
think we are pure energy. Let's go for it.
Lose the body, the physical body.
We'll take the body with us.
can.
Become like Alex Gray's work. You know, are you influenced by him?
Alex is a great mentor, and what he and Allison are doing at Cosm is something that is very special for our times, you know, and there's a lot of great visionary artists that are out there that are, you know, shining the light on and exposing the darkness, you know.
Right. Right. I'm just also mentioning him because some of his paintings show the physical body transmuting into light.
That's right.
And I think that sets a kind of vibration for us to attain.
Have you seen the footage of like the moment that a sperm connects to the egg?
No, what happens? Is the light?
It sparks into light.
It does?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and so that light
That's
is
when the
is
consciousness kind of like takes
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you
human
got to
form,
see you
or
got to see it. It's so
with a
amazing.
human form.
I will.
Yeah.
Just tell me about this film that we're going to roll in here. What did you do in the film that's different than the art?
It's
What
an
was it?
idea that's been coming to me for a while, you know, and I also do something I call cosmic shamanic sound healing, which has came to me very organically throughout the
Oh, we're
years.
going to play that too, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but the film itself, what is the idea?
When I was recording the album, this is my second album with the shamanic sound healing that I do. I just released it recently. So the film is connected to all the sounds that are in my album. So it's kind of like a journey throughout the universe where there is a lot of, I don't want to say alien, but more cosmic family connections, you know, that are traveling through the universe and picking up other races of beings from different planets, and then keep traveling and then sharing and spreading the light throughout the universe. So it's like a very psychedelic 3D journey that me and Tico created together.
You know,
and it has the soundtrack of my album.
Oh, good.
So it's like a journey, like
let's
a
roll that.
sound visual journey.
Let's definitely roll that in here. But just to say, you know, what I think of like multidimensional realities or other alien type forms, they are just pure energy and pure color. It's like they're interactions of color, grouping and regrouping and sharing information through like a color resonance. I get those image of like flowing colors like that. Does that make sense?
Well, when you think about it, colors are very healing properties. You know, colors and art and you know, music, all forms of the art. When you think about what the middle word of earth is, it's art.
Yeah.
You know, and art comes from the heart. You know, and so we're here to be creative beings and not to be slaves of a 9-to-5 machine that spits people out at the end of their lives. You know, people whose dreams are not truly fulfilled because they're stuck, in a mode of like, oh, I got to make money, and gather materialistic things. But a lot of dreams are squashed because of how society puts the pressure on humanity to fight amongst each other and rape the planet until what is the next generation going to inherit after all?
Right, and what for? What do they want with all that? I mean, money. I mean, art is the manifestation of dreams. Art, creativity is
and
why
time is art, not money. Time is art, not money.
It's why we incarnated in the first place.
Exactly.
To create.
And I think everyone's an artist. Everyone within. Sometimes people look at our paintings. Oh, that's amazing. I wish I could be able to do something like that, but I'm not an artist. And I look at them. I'm like, you're an artist. Everyone's an artist. You're alive. You are in this planet to create. Right. So just because you're here, you have something that you maybe haven't found. But everyone's an artist. Everyone has something to give to this planet, and to the shift in consciousness.
What were you going to say?
Yeah, I have a lot of similar experiences with Humo. So because people say, oh, I always ask people, what's your passion in life? And most people, surprisingly, don't know what their mission or their passion is. And so when they say, oh, I wish I could paint or play music, I say you can, but it's a practice and it's a meditation. And whatever your mind desires and whatever your heart desires needs the work to be put into it and the practice to be put into it. You can't like download like in the Matrix. I mean, at some point maybe we'll get to that point where we could download, and within minutes we'll have that knowledge.
I think everyone is an artist. They may not be painting. They may be an artist singing, dancing, even speaking.
Architecturally, we all have our gifts.
We do.
And so those gifts are meant to be shared with our communities, with the world.
And the reason for sharing the gifts is to increase our capacity to feel. Exactly. This is my whole theory about the artist's role in creating new realities. The reason, William Blake said, the imagination is the life of humanity.
That's right.
It is why we're here to, and I call it how to make known the unknown. It's only through art that the unknown manifests into the world. So it's the unknown, when it becomes known, expands our awareness. So especially visionary artists are leading the way into what's possible. And because they don't even know sometimes what they're doing, they are in a way channeling the future for the rest of us to graduate to a higher capacity of perception.
I agree. Yeah. And also, like on that note, regarding William Blake, wasn't it Albert Einstein that says that imagination is greater than knowledge?
Right.
So you take that imagination and put it into action. Okay, then we're able to truly transcend those boundaries, if you want to, see it that way, of what is possible from within each of us.
And that's why I love your stuff, because you're showing us. Not only what's possible, what's yet to be possible. What is yet to be created and imagined. And if you can stretch the limits of human perception, then you stretch the creative imagination of everyone who looks at your work.
True.
And that's what's so exciting. And thank you for being warriors at the edge of creativity.
That's why we're here.
That is why you're here. You found your passion.
And thank you for what you do, Alan. You are...
You're also the vessel, the bridge.
Yeah, you're an incredible...
Share this with everyone.
Alan's an incredible thought leader, and you've been at the cutting edge of, with your program for many years, and you're still following, your truth and your passion, and that, we honor you, thank you for that.
Well, I do it because, thank you. I do it because I want to know. I want to know what's possible. I want to know what is the leading edge of the future as it unfolds through the collective awareness. And if I can help manifest that and share that with others, and other people get inspired to be artists, creators, manifestors, visionaries,
And everyone should.
Peacemakers.
Yeah.
peacemakers. That's an art form.
That's right.
Not everyone can be a peacemaker. I
Right.
mean, that have the capacity. So finding your capacity to, and it's usually what you're passionate about, right?
That's true.
When you're painting, isn't that you totally filled?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't have passion for what you're doing, then why do it?
Yeah.
But when you're doing your thing, is it totally consume you?
I get lost within it. It feels as if there is no time. Everything dissolves. And we
meditation.
become part of the process.
Yeah.
It's not like about worried about oh, what's the outcome of this. It's really about honoring the present and allowing that to flow
Yeah.
in a manner that that transcends any sort of ego or any sort of time limit.
What's your highest passion, Humo, when you're
Just I would say opening up more, my energy so I could share
And how do you do that?
by becoming more creative every day.
Painting?
Well, I do so many things, that are all are related, and I just wake up and I'm like, I just start feeling my passion is always there. I start feeling I need to do this, I need to do this, and it's all about sharing the art. About creating.
Oh, so
It's
you
like
do
a force.
music and you do,
Yeah, it's a force that's always there and it never stops. And I just feel I need to take it out. So it comes out in so many different ways.
Well, let's listen to some of your music as we close out, and more of these images. And I can't wait to see what you guys keep creating, because you're pushing the boundaries of the possible with your images. So keep going.
We're
That's
we're
what
just
we do.
humble servants, man. Humble servants to the source, and to honor that source of love, compassion, kindness, peace that we need so desperately during these times.
Yeah.
I'm also a musician as well. It's
Oh,
interesting.
right.
Umo and I share a lot of interesting common ground with each other. And so through music and through writing and filmmaking, it's all parallel to that process.
It's all part of the energy of putting the intent out there to wake up others. And to
It'll really
help.
be a different planet
in
when
the shift.
everyone taps into that creative force. When they, like you or me or maybe you, wake up in the morning and say, how am I going to create today?
Yeah.
That's the planet
Yeah.
of a utopian
Right.
Yeah.
life that we were supposed to have.
Right. And also, I mean, creativity also has its dark side.
What's that? What do you mean?
Well, where people use their creative energy to build bombs,
Yeah.
or to build, war machines.
Well, I wouldn't say creativity, it's still being creative, but the result is kind of dark.
Yeah,
But
that's
the-
right.
I mean, if they use that energy to create something amazing, imagine what we could have done by now.
Right, instead of creating bombs, they could create anti-gravity machines,
We would
a zero-point
already
energy.
be
technology.
somewhere else,
Yeah, I think creativity is just like electricity. It can just be used for the good or the bad. But if we put an intention saying, I want to serve the greater good with this energy, this creative energy, then the flowering of who we are as humans opens up.
That's right. I mean, look at people like Tesla, who was shut down by certain agencies because he wanted to share free energy with the planet.
Right.
But once again, those institutions wanted to, all they saw was greed and money and control.
Yeah.
So when people try to live off the grid, they try to find those people or shut them down because they don't want them to collect rainwater or natural resources.
But I think that's changing. Of course, that exists, and we have to acknowledge what's out there. But I think as those people in those corporate structures of control start to realize the value of their own human life, why they came, then some spark of saying, well, I don't need to do this. I think that can wake up some of those controlling factors. So the more we produce art and beauty and joy, it's like those people that want to maintain the old world order can start to, because they're humans just trying to live the best they know how. It's just that their conditioning is so strong that they think they have to stay in control. And I think because we're all humans, really, I don't like to demonize anybody, even though some people.
Oh no, who knows if we're all humans on this planet?
But I think if we appeal to their humanity with art and music and creativity, then that's a way to transform too.
What would this world be like if there was no art?
Well, there's that.
Oh my God.
The
I
earth
don't wanna
without
imagine.
art would just be PH.
Yeah.
But without, the only reason to incarnate, in my experience, is to express. That's why we came here, is to express whatever form it is. And that's, without that drive, then why do people come? There's only like robot-like mannerism. That's not a reason. So without art, there is no reason to be here.
Right.
Without
True.
films, without music, without, this is what makes up our experience.
Yeah.
And that's why the arts is like the first energy that's oppressed when governments become like totalitarian or despotic. They try to ban art.
Because they don't want
It makes
free
people
thinking.
feel
When
more.
Winston Churchill during World War II said, someone said to him, in order to support the war, we have to cut the arts budget. He said to them, well, what are we fighting for then?
So true. Wow.
We're fighting for the power of each person to have that creative potential. So that's what's so exciting.
Yes.
Okay. I think we have to wrap up.
Yes.
I think we're getting, but how do people find you guys?
Well, I have a website, it's Humo, it's Humo, infinityart.com. And also I have an Instagram, that's Humo, Humo _Maya, like the Mayans. So that's very easy to remember.
And you?
And I'll place mine at the end credits of the footage.
And mine is newrealities@earthlink.net is my email, newrealities.com, New Realities events, and look for me on YouTube at youtube.com/New Realities. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peacemakers. Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks for bringing your beauty.
Thank you for being here.
Yay.
Okay, team. Thank you.